And we're back. Now, I finished that last video talking about survival, pencil sharpeners, how it can be a multi-tool, etc. And I forgot to tell y'all about one of the best uses for it, which we'll get into here in a minute. And also, I had another box of fire starters that I stuck my hand in my survival vest and I went, oh, I forgot to talk about these. Because I told you that vest got everything in it, right? So let me get rid of this cigarette. I forgot I had that nasty thing in my hand. And we'll talk about the fire starter first. Now, when you get it from the eBay and whatnot, this particular one, it comes in a little bubble wrap thing. I can actually start a fire with that, by the way. Now, I'm not talking about just lighting it. I'm talking about I can magnify it with it, but we'll teach you that trick another time. There is a trick to it. So when y'all go out and try it on your own without reading one of my books, you ain't going to be able to do it. But if I got bubble wrap, I can make a fire. Alright, so this particular one, size of an outdoor can. Now you talk about somebody carry a fire starter with them. I got fire starter. First off, I got my basic sawdust that comes off of fat wood. A lot of people don't have sawdust like that, but when we're cutting the sticks down to fit in these things, we produce a lot of basically fire starter. So this is easier than doing shavings to get it going, right? So we got that. Of course, I got to get my cotton. I got to be able to really show, you know, if I'm on the easiest stuff to light in the world, and know it's not coated with Vaseline or anything. I don't need that. I'm gonna look pretty good at what I do. I think y'all know that. But usually, if I got this on me and I'm out talking to people, like one of our prepper meets, like we did preppers on the beach in Panama City, I hope everybody wants to come to. Again, next time I have it, I'm hoping for next year if we can do it. All right. They all have these fire starters on them, and I get to see who knows how to use one or don't, because everybody just buys the darn things and they don't ever do anything with them. And then I remember, what was that, Dencad on YouTube. He first time he got one, oh, it don't work, you know, and he was out there just trying to start it and start it. And then my brother saw that. He's a yuppie over in Texas, and we grew up differently, we'll just say it that way. And he was like, oh, ferromecium rods don't work, watch out. And then he wants to buy an expensive one, this and that. And I'm like, y'all are idiots. Get the paint off of them first. Everybody's got one. Get the paint off of them first, and then try to strike the darn thing. Then it works pretty good. Then it's just a little practice. But if you're sitting there trying to strike it and worried about scarring it up and all this and that, or the pretty paint on it, the paint needs to be off to work, okay? Thank you, people. I've seen, I don't know how many people try and do that. So when we finally teach somebody, that's why I got a little extra cotton with me. So they go, yay, I made it. You know, that's what everybody does first time you do that. Now, if you notice, this is what I got in this thing. I got me itty bitty pieces of fat wood. Pine starter. Alabama pine starter, best thing that you ever happened. Little small stuff. This stuff burns long, hot. It's free. It's just as good as those wet tabs, except for it don't burn in water. But hey, I don't build my fire in water either, you know. So got that. This is just a generic, cheap ferromecium rod. No pretty handle, no antler, no nothing. It's a big piece of ferromecium. It will last me a long time. I bet you I got 10,000 lights in that thing. Okay, so I got, that's all that's in there. And then this stuff. This is waxed jute. That's what that is. And it's wrapped around, of course, a piece of fire starter. Also, I got a fish hook under there, but that's one of my tricks I'll tell you all about later. Anyway, you can make triggers, this, that, and the other. But this stuff will burn. It'll catch when nothing else will. It's easier to get this stuff started than get the big stuff started, unless you got a pencil sharpener. Now, speaking of pencil sharpeners, oh, what else I got? I got my striker in there. Now, the striker, I talked about striker. When y'all get a striker, of course I can't get this one out, with these various and sundry things, you get cheap ones, you get good ones, etc. You want a piece of a hacksaw blade. That's what you want for a striker. Very pretty. Don't be using the saw side to be striking with, because then you don't work so good as the saw, okay? But what you can do with this is do your trap triggers, because it's, you know, if you're going to make a notch, if you want a flat edge and a notch edge, it's easier to saw down into something. That's why I got knives that got saws on them, than it is to try to carve something straight in. It's very difficult to do. Usually you end up, you know, whop it with a piece of wood, baton it, you know, in. Anyway, get one with the hacksaw edge. Alright, now, in my article, I said I like the bullet-shaped pencil sharpener. Why is that? Well, the thing is, I'll do something weird. Now, you know all these bands we got on the Boonie caps and whatnot? Well, I got me one stuck in there. Now, who else got a survival tool on their hat except for Ron? See, that's why y'all read my books. You kind of like this stuff, and I try to always give you something new. Every time you read an article of mine, every time you read a book, and when you go over to Survival Sullivan, which I'm writing this particular article for, you'll see experts come up with their weird tips and tricks. This is one of mine. Now, these bands and these things, the elastic wears out, does this and that, and if you're wanting to sling your hat around, do whatever, and you ain't going to be using this thing all the time because you got regular fire starter, what you're going to do is put a piece of electrical tape in the back of this thing, and you're just going to have it hooked to your hat just because, if you want to tote one around. Just don't have it stuck in here like I got it stuck in here for this video, right? If I get it on there. So, these things, this kind of elastic is the detriment of everybody. And you can see how wide that is too. You know, so it's not going to just sit in there on its own unless I had it on my head. I would lose that thing in days, and you lose your gear. I said prepare to lose everything but your mind, but don't lose your mind losing your gear either, right? Well, that's a new Ronism for you. So you can tape it on the back of that with electric tape, duct tape. Everybody needs duct tape. You can stack stuff on it, you can play around with it. And these hats, but a lot of people don't even realize what that's for. That's for putting your camouflage in. You want to look like a tree, you stick trees and stuff on there, you know, you can get grass and everything else. I think y'all saw me on my picture on my Facebook page. I got my helmet, it's got slits in it, and I was decorating my helmet, you know, with camouflage so I could look like I was a bunch of the weeds when I'm up there looking at people. That's what that was. So I was just sitting there and I had me my big stack of twigs, and I'm decorating my hat, basically. That's what we used to call them things, or steel pot, but I'm old style. We had steel pots. Y'all with them Kevlar helmets these days? Tell you something. Back in the day, I don't even know if I should tell you all this story, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. It's fun. Back in the day, we'd get these long convoys out of Alabama going to Camp Shelby, Mississippi for National Guard drill for 2 weeks. And they don't stop, you know, you got 4 or 5 hours. If you got to take a whiz on the truck or something like that, the low man on the totem pole got to donate his helmet for that task. Now, we had helmet liners. The plastic helmet liner goes into the steel pot. So the steel pot, people would pee in those things, and you dump it out. We'd make hot wash basins to shave with them things. The advantage of steel pots over the old style, they wouldn't stop a bullet like the new Kevlar, but you can dig a hole. You can do all kinds of stuff with steel pots. So I just wanted to throw that 2 cents worth in there. And so does it for my uses of a survival implement, because, well, I can do everything with it. That one thing, traps, snares, oh, fish gorge. Forgot to tell y'all the number one thing, the reason I come out here. Do you make hooks? If y'all don't know what a gorge is, you basically sharpen a stick on each end. You decide what size fish you're going to catch with the thing. And you tie your line in the middle of it. You put your little notch in the middle, make sure the string don't slide back and forth. Just put a little notch in there. And a pencil sharpener, a wonderful thing to make fish hooks. That's a huge survival skill. You know, I can't see anybody bugging out. If you ain't near water and you're not near fish, you're dead. Most people, you're not going to be able to catch game or do this and that, you know, but you can usually try to catch a fish. And I call that catching a fish on a twig, and you have to read that other article. It's over on prepper.org. All right, thanks a lot. Take care.